Hi, I'm Jason Bryan from the Short-Time Wrestling Podcast and founder of the Mat Talk Podcast Network. Shows on the network are individually owned and operated, and those opinions presented and expressed may not reflect others, the sponsors, patrons, or the parent network. Find more shows about the greatest sport in the world at the Mat Talk Podcast Network at mattalkonline.com.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the PackMentality Pop-Ins Podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
It's Rivalry week here at NC State. Wolfpack travels over to Chapel Hill this Friday night at 6 o'clock on the ACC network. And what better way to break down the UNC NC State matchup than to visit with the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio. Pat, I messed up the intro. Episode 75, PackMentality Pop-Ins Podcast. You got me while I was eating lunch. I already had to quit eating so we could talk because you said you had an interview with someone else. So
it's always good to have you, especially now they get to see what we're eating for lunch. Is that a brownie I see with chips?
It is.
That's good. Nice and healthy.
I treat myself to a little dessert.
Yeah, apparently. You must have been working hard this week to get that.
But had to stop eating lunch, so I'm not sure this is going to be a joyous podcast, but joyous time of year. All right, off the bat, UNC, NC State. It's your rivals. Doesn't get much better than this.
No, always good. Good week when we have in-state competition. Guys always look forward to this, as I'm sure they do as well. Intensity gets high this week, so it's good. It's well needed probably for both teams right now. The situation we all been dealt, it's always good to get out there and let it fly.
I was going to say football, you always hear about so many of these guys faced off in high school. They're from North Carolina. Wrestling, not too many North Carolina guys. Do your guys appreciate the rivalry with the school right down the road?
I think, they know what's at stake and they know it's a big deal to a lot of people here in the community. But at the end of the day, it's just another match that we're going to go out and wrestle hard and expect to win.
Last year, Reynolds Coliseum, over 4,000 fans. Every time we go over to Carmichael, I'm biased, but there's more Red fans over there too. Going to miss out on the crowd over there.
Definitely. And that is one thing I love about NC State is we have a really good fan base in place now. And it is, I think it's pretty obvious when we do travel over there, our fans stand out wearing their red. So it'll be a little different. But again, at the end of the day, we're still going to show up and wrestle hard. It's going to be, different setting as we know. Reynolds was like that. It was quiet, but guys still stayed focused and put on a good show last Friday.
North Carolina this week, Virginia Tech next week, both teams in the top 12. Has there been a different emphasis in practice or anything, or have you had to say anything, any themes or anything, or is this just business as usual?
Yeah, I think that's what makes it good for us is we're just focused on getting better. It's another competition and, we haven't talked much about anything other than let's focus on what we need to work on and, just keep getting better at wrestling so we can put ourselves in position to compete at the best we can come ACCs and NCAs.
27-6 home win over Pitt last time out. Wolfpack wins 8 of the matches, including the last 6. Pitt's a tough matchup every year. You guys seem to come out ready to go. Impressions from the recent home win?
It was good. That's something we've been working on is focusing as a team, bringing our A game for higher level competition. And we saw that Friday night. I think it reflects on our training. Obviously, the first couple of weeks, we were pushing really hard through some competition and knowing the next 3 weeks are going to be high level wrestling. We got the guys' legs back underneath them. And I think it shows a little bit when you can see, there's a little more spark in some of the guys when we're competing. And obviously the higher level competition guys got to rise to the occasion. And we need to do that this week and next week as well.
High level competition, a pair of top 10 wins for NC State, 4 ranked wins overall. We'll go much talked about. All of wrestling was talking about 197. You threw out true freshman making his debut, Isaac Trumble. Took out number 5, Bonacorsi, 6-1. It was a fun match to watch. Just some long scrambles. Those two were on the mat for an awful long time. What was the thought process of throwing Trumble out there?
Yeah, we got a good problem right now. You got a true freshman that's coming along very well, developing very fast. You have Nick Reenan, who's, close to back to 100%. And so I think we have two really good options. We got a tough problem we got to figure out. But thought process was give them each one really good match and see how those guys perform. And we got to wrestle Nick at Virginia against a highly ranked guy. And we talked before. It wasn't like it was a last minute decision. We talked before Virginia. We're gonna wrestle Nick, and then for Pitt, we were gonna throw Isaac out there. And both guys knew the plan and gave those guys time mentally to get focused in on their competition. And he stepped up for the challenge. And, that's what we need right now. We need our freshmen winning right away. And I think that's what makes elite programs is you take a true freshman and he can compete with the best guys in the country. Because, obviously Bonacorski's no slouch. He's a winner and he's proven he can win at this level. So regardless of the way the match went, he still scored more points and got the victory. And that's what you need to do. You need to gut out some wins and do the hard things. And was very impressed with his composure. Isaac's conditioning is as good as anybody in the country, and that goes back to his work ethic. So we knew he wasn't going to wear down, where a lot of guys sometimes wrestling at that pace do get fatigued, and I think Isaac could wrestle that pace just as long as Bonacorski and those guys probably. I bet you if that match went 20 minutes, those guys would have wrestled the same pace. And that's good for wrestling. It makes guys better.
Had Isaac on this episode. Stay tuned. A little spoiler alert. But we were joking. Raleigh Geiger, cross-country coach here. You nervous Geiger's going to take this guy on his cross-country team? Isaac's out there running miles every day.
Yeah, you might as well just join the cross-country team too. He does. He puts a lot of miles in, and I think that's what makes him special. For a big guy to wake up every morning and hit the road, he's very determined, and he's got a lot of maturity. His discipline in his diet. He's really big for the weight, but very energized at the same time. And I think it's going to be a challenge for guys to take out a guy that's 6'4", at 197 pounds.
He doesn't stick to the Stairmaster like some people I know. He gets out there, gets that's sweat going.
That's being youthful. Actually, don't let him kid you. I see him on the stepper quite a bit, more on the weekends, though.
All right, another big confidence win down at 165. Thomas Bullard, another top 10 win as he took out number 7 Wenzel, got a takedown late in the second, reversal very key in the third. As I said, confidence builder for Bullard. That seems to be what he needed right now.
Yeah, that and overcoming a little adversity from minor injury in the first couple weeks. He's back to close to being 100% and able to train the way he needs to and actually wrestle the way he wants to. Very dangerous guy. I don't question, obviously sometimes those guys have letdowns. Their style of wrestling catches up to them. But when their focus and intensity gets high, they're very dangerous. And he's going to need that Friday night and another good test. So I'm glad he's back to where he's at, and that's one of the matches he needed to be ready for Friday.
I was going to say 65's loaded. He's going to get another top 10 foe. But Carolina, they're coming in 6 ranked guys. I believe they have about 5 guys ranked in the top 10, but they've also had some COVID issues. So their whole lineup hasn't been out there yet. As a coaching staff, what are your expectations? Who do you think is going to wrestle? How do you go about in planning?
Just like anything else in the national tournament, you really don't know who you're going to run into. So you got to be ready to go 7 minutes, wrestle your style. They got good guys from 25 to heavyweight. We know that they're well coached. Their guys are gritty. They want to win. And, that's what makes for a good duel. As you saw last year, there were no easy matches. Everything was gutted out and earned, on both sides. And I think that's going to be the same thing this year. And maybe it won't be as hectic without fans in there, but the intensity will be as high as ever, and a lot of good wrestling, and we'll be up for that test and challenge against a very good team.
I think I saw a tweet. They have 3 returning ACC champions. 141, great matchup. Number 11 Wilson versus number 10 Sherman. These two have battled, just like we talked about Tariq last week with Matthews. The Wilson-Sherman battles, they've been great. This is going to be an elite matchup.
Yeah, and I think Tariq's got to get back to his winning ways against a guy that wrestled very well in the conference tournament. And I think, if we look at past records where we're at in that series, we got to get back to being out in front in that. And I expect Tariq to show up, take that one personal. and go out and win. Tariq's that good. When his focus is there, he's very dangerous and deadly, and he's still winning right now with, having some minor lapses in some of his matches. But we know when he's on, he's as good as anybody in the country. So it'll be an exciting match. Those guys both wrestle really hard and put points on the board. So that's going to be a fun one to watch.
We talked about this guy last week. Great chance, freshman, Ed Scott, 149. He's going to get the number one guy in the country here in O'Connor.
Yeah, good opportunity to go out and see where you're at with the best in the country. So that's a match. Ed Scott, I think what you get out of freshmen, you get a little inconsistency. Saw that Friday night in a match where kid wrestled him hard, and Ed ended up losing that match, but the week before looked great. And this needs to be a week that he's ready to go and wrestle hard and put points on the board. They're going to not be easy points, but Ed's up for that challenge. He wrestles pretty hard too. So I'm excited to see where we're at that weight. That'll be a good true test. So that should be a fun one.
Up at 174, another guy who's gotten some good wins over North Carolina guys. Daniel Bullard, top 10 guy. Looks like Kane he'll get. Kane, I believe, redshirted last year, but Bullard's really come strong against the Tar Heels. Got you guys some good wins in these recent duels. He's got a chance to go out and get another top 10 win for himself.
Yeah, and he needs to. We expect him to be at that level, beating the best guys in the country. And I think that's a match, regardless of who they wrestle. We got to be ready to go against two good quality kids. Still, we don't know, and we'll be ready either way to go show up, wrestle hard for 7 minutes, and wrestle their style. I think that's the biggest thing for the Bullards, is to wrestle where they're good and do their style of wrestling, which is a little unorthodox. And when they do that, they usually find themselves in the driver's seat.
Pat, another great recap of the Pitt duel. Looking forward to the UNC duel. Once again, NC State is going to be on the ACC network this Friday night at 6 o'clock. Watch us, follow us on Twitter. Pat, it's an exciting time. I didn't write down any notes. I'm kind of struggling here right now.
Yeah, I think you're too focused in on your lunch.
Focused on my chips over there.
Yeah.
They've just been saying my yogurt's getting a little warm. But
so that's good for you, though. But yeah, it is. It's just great to be back competing, and then having the ACC duels on the network right now, I think is great for our conference and the level we're at overall. Friday nights are fun. Fans are zoned in when it comes down to watching high-level wrestling across the country. And there's definitely going to be some great duels on this weekend, and looking forward to showcasing what NC State wrestling's all about.
Pat, thanks for catching us up. Good luck over in Carolina, going for a school record, most consecutive wins against that club. I know your guys will be ready, and Wolfpack fans, tune in Friday night, 6 o'clock, ACC Network, and stay tuned for our featured interview with freshman Isaac Trumble. Now joining us on the PackMentality Pop-Ins Podcast, freshman Isaac Trumble. Isaac, you just said very busy day that you have today, so thanks for joining us on the podcast this week.
Yes, sir.
Definitely a whirlwind weekend, I'm sure, for you. You have a presence on social media. I don't think you post too much, but it was kind of hard to ignore just the events of the past weekend.
Yes.
Have things calmed down a little bit for you? Have you gotten back into your normal routine here?
Yeah, I kind of tried that next day on Saturday, just kind of forget that night, and then I woke up and went for a run, and then had individuals, and we went over stuff I need to fix, and then from that, I'm trying to stay off social media, try and keep my head out of the cloud and just keep grinding.
And obviously, we're talking about the Pitt duel Friday night. You got your start in the duel, number 5, Bonnet Corsi, got the win. We're going to get into that. You just mentioned you went for a run the next morning. Duel was at 6 o'clock. We got out of there about 9:30. What time was the run?
5:30.
Why
guy.
I was going to say, why do you enjoy getting up early and doing that kind of stuff? Just to start your day.
So normally, like a night like tonight, I got tutoring until 6:30. Then I'll cook dinner, and then I plan on being asleep by 7:30 or 8. At 8:30 the latest, and normally my body will wake me up around 4:30 or 5, and then I'm just ready to go starting then, and it's full steam ahead.
So early to bed, early to rise. Who's the roommates this year?
Anthony Noto and Donald Cates.
What is the roommate situation when you're on a completely different schedule, probably than most college kids?
It's tough. I mean, It's nice that we got our own individual room, not having to like share an actual room. So it's like a suite. So we got 4 different rooms, and we got a kitchen, which is really nice. So we I love getting up and cooking breakfast, and then I always cook dinner. Like tonight it'll be probably ground turkey, rice, and then some spinach salad.
Okay, not bad. Run, outside guy?
Yes, I hate treadmills. Do it. There's no scenery to look at. It's just I'm just in the same spot for 30 minutes.
So Pat was joking. All the running you do outside, you could be a cross-country runner.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Join the cross-country team.
Okay. Well, at least high school, you wrestled a little bit heavier than you right now. Do you run to lose weight? Do you run to get in shape? What's the motivation?
I don't know. So normally, like when I run in the morning, it's just to stay in shape. I'm not really a guy that tries to get out of shape. So like even off season, I'm trying to run 20 miles a week. And, but yeah, and then towards like later in the day, like, if I don't have much classes and I'm just stressed out, that's when I run. I will leave my phone, leave everything I have, and then just go for 30 minutes. And normally I try to go somewhere like a forest or somewhere where it's just peaceful and I'm away from everything. So I just kind of run my stress away.
Is there a lot more forests and woods in Raleigh than Springfield, Nebraska?
Yes, definitely. The running here is a lot nicer than Nebraska because the hills.
Music?
Nope.
No.
Normally when I'm outside, I like to leave my phone and everything just so I'm away from everyone. Also, I kind of got this theory. I mean, I'm a big guy. No one's going to want to try to kidnap me, but if I don't got music in my earbuds, I can hear people coming up on me. Okay. So,
do you keep track of your miles or anything?
Yeah, I got a Garmin watch. I usually keep track of that every day.
What's your like weekly average?
Normally, I try to go about 5 miles a day. So, like on a day like today, I'll do 5, and then starting Wednesday, I'll taper back down to about 3, and then 2 on Thursday. No running Friday. Saturday, I'll get back to it, and then Sunday is normally just a stair stepper in the morning and then run later in the day.
I mentioned high school, your senior year, you even bumped up for a couple of times. You're up at heavyweight. Yes. Right now you're at 197. Is it hard for you to 197? You're what, 6'4", 6'5"? So what is the cut, or how do you do 197 right now?
It's not too bad. I mean, losing like a day like today, I probably lost 6 pounds at practice. I came in weighing 202 and then ended up leaving right around 196. So, I mean, I'm right under weight after every practice. So it's not too bad. I mean, I have to eat healthy. I mean, that's kind of part of the sport. You got to eat healthy. So like this morning I woke up, I had oatmeal with peanut butter powder, protein powder, and then blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and honey, and then a cup of coffee. And you just kind of got to eat healthier to maintain the weight.
Springfield, Nebraska, you were kind of a late recruit in this signing class. Talk about, how did you find NC State? How did the relationship form? Not too sure we've gone out to Nebraska too many times to get a student athlete here. So just how did you discover NC State?
So it kind of started on the very first day of my, when the recruiting opened, NC State, Adam contacted me. And then it kind of all started from there. I mean, he was friends with my coach, Todd Manili. And Todd told him from the start. I mean, I wasn't even nationally ranked anything. Hadn't placed a national tournament until then, or before then. And then my coach was like, keep an eye out on this kid. He's a hard worker and he'll be a good kid to have on your team. And I didn't even have a top 5 schools. I just had 4 schools even looking at me. So I couldn't make a top 5 post. And it was it wasn't very stressful but then the money thing was a big deal because by the time I started getting recruited, most schools had already had all their recruits and given their money away. So that really limited schools' options. So that said NC State was a place.
Was it stressful? Because most wrestlers, they kind of commit during their junior seasons now. So, you kind of waited. Was it stressful for you?
Yeah, it was really stressful because I don't know. It was just all the schools had given their money away, so I didn't have much. And NC State from the very start was where I wanted to go. And, the other schools were offering me, this felt like the right place to me.
High school, very good program. It's pumping a lot of D1 athletes, D1 wrestlers. How much did that help you coming from where you came from?
Man, so I was from Springfield, Nebraska, and then I drove to a school about 30 minutes away, Millard South, and because they had a really good coaching and their wrestling program was really good. And then my end of my sophomore year, I started going to MWC Wrestling Academy, and Zach Dominguez and Dan Peterson just like elevated me. And it was so I kind of wasn't fully all in to the wrestling right then. My sophomore year, I would be like, oh, I got church on Sunday, I got church on Wednesday. I can't make it to those days, but I'll be there every other day. So then end of my junior year, I completely went all in because I didn't have any offers then. And I was like, I want to wrestle in college, so I have to prove my point. And so I went all in and gave my coaches all my time, and it just elevated me.
Did you play any other sports growing up, or how did wrestling become the sport?
So growing up, I did baseball, football, wrestling, and I loved football and baseball. But when I came on my visit here, I was 6'4", and the coaches were talking to me about it. And I told the coaches, I was like, hey, if I had a doctor tell me when I was in 5th grade that I was going to be 6'4" or 5, I was like, I would have played basketball or football. I would have never wrestled. And man, Donnie got mad. He was like, why would you ever say that? He's like, wrestling's gotten you this far in life. He's like, you can't just throw something like that away. He's like, it's actually done you pretty good being that tall. It was kind of nice.
I was going to say, you're in the upper weights, but you're a very tall upper weight.
Yes.
Advantage for you, do you think?
Yes and no. I mean, it kind of helps me with my hips, but then kids got so much length, on my legs, got so much leg room to shoot in on. So I kind of have to keep my stance a little lower so they can't really get into me.
I was going to say, that seems to be one thing we've kind of noticed. Guys do get in on your legs.
Yes.
So you've had to work on defense a lot.
Yep. Pat and I are working on that.
I was going to say, we know you pin, we know you turn guys, but how much defense are you working on right now?
I mean, it really was at the beginning of the season because with Deontay and Trent, they just offense all the time. So I had to do my offense, and offense against Deontay is pretty hard because he's 60 pounds more than me. So it kind of turned to defense, and Pat was really good at it, teaching me. So I worked on defense a lot, and then now I kind of have to switch it to working more on offense now.
I was going to say, it's neutral game, something now that's kind of the next step.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
So you came in here, had Ed Scott on last week, talked about the rules changing this year where freshmen didn't have to redshirt, kind of a free year. What did you think you were going to be doing this year before that ruling came down? What were the expectations when you first came here in the summer?
Expectations, I always wanted to start. My coaches told me, they're like, I don't care who it is. That very first day of practice, you find the biggest guy and you just try to manhandle him. He's like, push him into the walls, do whatever you can to kind of prove your point to the starters and show them that you're here not to play games and you actually want to start. And from the start, that's what I came here to do, is start and make a point.
How tough is it for a freshman to do that, though? NC State's been in the top 5 for many years, well-established starters, that room, very veteran. How tough was it? You're kind of low-key, you're probably more of a quiet guy, but how tough was it for you those first couple practices to establish yourself?
First practices, it was more of I'm friends with the coaches because they know me better than any of the teammates. And then I got to slowly start making my way into the team and making friends.
So came out, you had a few extra matches, got pins each time. What's the difference between an extra match and starting an ACC duel?
That was tough. I mean, we were back behind. We weren't in the venue. We were back behind under the bleachers. And I was just back there with Deontay, and the way that man paces and the face he makes.
Deontay's intense sometimes.
Yeah, it just got me ready to go. Okay. And I didn't see that at the extra matches, but that man gets me going.
Were you nervous in a duel setting?
Not really. I tried staying out of it was my first big duel, and I tried staying out of there, back behind the bleachers, so it didn't get into my head. And even then, like, I'm not a music guy because it kind of works me up in my head and kind of psychs me out or gets me too worked up. So I'm kind of a joke around, stay chill guy until 2 matches, 3 matches until I'm up, and I get serious.
What do you know about your ACC competition? Did you know, obviously you see the rankings of your opponent, Bonacorsi, in that particular. What do you know about the ACC conference overall?
They're tough. I mean, I got a good weight class. I don't like looking at the rankings, but I know there are a few really good kids at my weight. I mean, Nick had a really good match with the Virginia kid and Bonacorsi. I don't know who else at my weight, but we're going to have a good ACC tournament. Was
there a guy that shoots more than Bonacorsi for that weight? What was the game plan going in? Or what was talked about?
That entire week, I was they knew that he was going to shoot a lot, and they said, you got to do your defense, and you cannot give up a point in that first takedown. And they said, if there's a shot, then you take it. But if there's not, just be ready, because he's going to keep shooting nonstop. Yeah. And so I was ready for it. And then Pat was like, you have to get a turn when you're on top, because he's going to choose bottom. And at the coin toss, I knew, like, I did the math, and by then it was going to be his choice in that second period. So I was just ready to get a turn there. Kind of sucked that I got a locked hands call. I
was going to say, but locked hand, yeah, you gave up the point. Is it just something you might not even know that you're doing?
Yeah, I didn't even notice it.
Okay. Back to that first period, though, Bonacorsi, obviously, you said he shot within 5 seconds.
Yep.
The scramble might have lasted at least a minute 30. But when that ref calls stalemate, did you get a little bit of confidence going, hey,
definitely.
I did. It was a stalemate. I didn't score, but also I kept him from scoring.
Yeah, looking over at Pat, and he was like, he's tired already. He was in and on your legs trying to fight for a minute and a half, and he's got all 100 and probably 200 pounds of you by then. And he's like, got all that on the hips on you.
Second period, obviously, he chose down. You got the swipes right as the time expired. Were you trying to get the turn there late? It just happened where because he was trying to get out as well. Kind of take us through the 4-point turn there.
Leg Turks are always there. I feel like almost on anyone you're wrestling, and that was given right there. I sucked him back, and I was ready for it. He almost rolled through it, and then I kind of switched my feet up and then hooked his bottom leg and got it there.
You kind of just held it there, though. Could you have gotten the pin if there was more time?
Definitely.
Maybe.
I think if there was more time, I would have got it.
But smart wrestling, you just had to hold it there and just get the 4 count.
Yes.
All right. Afterwards, obviously a great win, but how do you come down? How did the coaches react? It was on to the next already, wasn't it? For you that night.
Yeah. Coaches were pumped as he saw everyone when I got off the mat, all the high fives. It was a good feeling. But then we had a kind of a team meeting after, and a lot of good words said about everyone. And I really feel like we could have won all 10 weight classes that night. And I think as a team, we wrestled really good.
I'm a little nervous asking this because you're Midwest. What do you know about the NC State North Carolina rivalry?
Well, watching the duel online last year, that was crazy. I can't even imagine what that was like. And walking out for that duel last week, I was like, man, I cannot imagine this entire place full. And after that match, what it would have done after it. But seeing the photos from last year, NC State, UNC duel, that was crazy.
You bring up a great point. 4,000 fans in Reynolds Coliseum last year. Now you're wrestling in front of 50. Not saying you're getting jaded or whatnot, but like as you said, how hard is it with no crowd? And yeah, you don't get to experience that huge thousands of Wolfpack fans.
I think it was kind of nice. My very first start, and it wasn't a crazy duel like the UNC NC State duel. I mean, if that would have been my first start, I mean, I probably would have been a deer in the headlights type situation. So it was kind of nice to get that first start and get it out of my way. So now I'm kind of ready for when the time does come, and it is a big crowd. I'm ready.
Got you after practice here, and I asked you real quick how much time you had. You told me very big academic day.
Yes.
So we're sitting here early. Take us through what a normal Tuesday is for you.
I'll
Get out your phone and
I'll
look.
pull it up right now. So we got get up, coffee, meal, run, then practice. We got a communications class, military science, sociology, and then 3.5 hours of tutoring after that. And then we got dinner and then go to sleep.
So it's nonstop. It's
Nonstop.
it's a grind.
Yes.
But I think you kind of enjoy that sometimes
Yes.
too, don't you?
That's we do these each person has like kind of quote they have to say before practice. Or like today it was my turn to tell my why and my quote, and my quote was embrace the suck. And it was like everything in life is gonna suck, no matter what it is. So you just gotta embrace it and go like all in for it.
Very early, obviously, freshman year. Any intent on a major or field of study that you're looking at?
I'm currently undecided, but I mean, I love either ag, and this is a big ag school, or landscape management.
So you're saying farming is kind of a big deal in Nebraska?
Yes, definitely.
All right, get you out here on this. Everybody wants to know. No one recognized you the other night. Got a haircut.
Yep.
You didn't get the haircut in Raleigh, which kind of, I was surprised at myself.
I was
But
up in Charlottesville.
how long were you growing the hair? Any reason to the haircut at all?
So it started right after state, my junior year. I got a haircut, and then ever since I let it grow out. And so actually, going back even more, I had a buzz cut up until 8th grade. And then I grew it out my freshman year, long, not like to my shoulders, but not as long as it was now. And then, so I kept it kind of what it is now until my junior year, and then I let it grow out. And then we were up in Charlottesville for the VA duel, and Ed Scott was my roommate, and I was just got out of the shower, and I looked in the mirror. I was like, Ed, do you want to go get a haircut with me? And it was just a spur of the moment. I just was like, I'm going to go get a haircut. And ever since, I love it.
I was going to say, do you miss it?
Sometimes, yes, because all these photos I get, it's like all with my long hair.
Every preseason photo you did is the long hair.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you.
Yes.
But how much cooler was the head? I know when I get my head shaved, it's pretty cold that next day.
It was, the guy was cutting it up there, and he had a fan behind it. And right when he took the trimmer to the back of my head, I was like, man, I can feel the wind on the back of my head. It was so cool.
How much did he charge you for the haircut?
It's $30.
Wow. That's a little more expensive, but
I should have just done it myself.
Isaac, appreciate you stopping by. I know you have a very busy day, but great to let Wolfpack fans know about you. Great win, but we're looking forward to many more great wins as the season gets long here. I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your PackMentality Pop-Ins Podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack.
PackMentality Pop-Ins Podcast is produced by the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MattTalkOnline.com.